What's up, Ryan?
Hey, John, how you doing?
I'm good, brother. What's up?
Oh, man, let's hop into it. Wife and I have some patterns that we need to break and kind of get our marriage back on track. It's been a little difficult recently.
Tell me about it, man.
2.5 years ago, we had our first kid, and before that, just like everybody else, relationship was good, marriage was good. But then after you have the kid, you kind of, for me anyways, it's kind of tough to find that balance of being good husband, good father, and your wife starts putting a little bit more attention on the kid, obviously, because that's, what you have to do. The kid can't do anything for itself. And so it just I think we kind of got away from each other a little bit too much, and just kind of lost our way. And, but we never really kind of got back on track.
Yeah.
We lost all the time together.
Can we speak in active language, not passive voice?
What do you mean by that?
What I mean is, one of the way out of this is through it. And when we speak of things, either A, to protect our partner, we don't want to say anything mean about the wife of our kids, right? Or of our wife, or of ourselves. Or we want to not, we don't want to not, but the weight of 100% full responsibility is really heavy. And so we say things like, we kind of lost our way, instead of saying, we made some daily intentional and unintentional choices, and here we are. Because when you take ownership like that, like in my life, I remember, hey, we're about to get divorced, and we have actively chosen a chaotic, not good marriage. The beauty of that is we can choose something else. But if we walk around as this just happens, we just had a kid and this is just kind of the way it is, and there's just no sudden, then it feels like this perpetual just the way it is, and it's very hard to slog your way out of that with any sort of autonomy. Does that make sense?
Yeah, exactly.
So we actively chose this, and that sucks. And what's rad is we can actively do things to choose our way out of it if we're both aligned that we need to do something different.
Right.
Did you? I'll speak to you because you're on the phone. Have you done things? Have you become somebody that you never intended to be on the back end of this?
Yeah.
Okay. Tell me about that.
That's the hardest part. I never wanted to be the person that, got super angry with my wife, yelled at her. It's just not who I wanted to be. I'm not this angry person.
Yeah.
But I miss my wife.
Yeah.
And it's just a hard situation. I mean, for me and her, I mean, she's got all these different responsibilities and somebody that wants to cling on to her 24/7. So she might be touched out at the end of the day, and so on the back end, that makes it a little difficult for me, because it's like, I want to, hug on my wife, kiss my wife, do all that. And, some days that's just not her at the end of the day.
Yeah. Do you feel like after 2.5 years, and let's be honest, a lot of the connectivity, the marriage dynamic shifts a couple of weeks into a pregnancy, right? So this might be 3.5 years.
100%.
Are you beginning to feel like with a 2.5-year-old, like an infant, a newborn, of course. But I've seen 2.5-year-olds, 3.5-year-olds, 4.5-year-olds used almost as a shield, as an excuse. I just have to, I've got to. And it begins to feel like you don't have to anymore. Like now you're not drawing boundaries, or you're choosing one over the other. You get what I'm saying?
Right. I don't necessarily feel like that's really the case as much now.
Okay.
I feel like definitely in the beginning stages more so than yeah. I mean, now I feel like it's kind of we're taking steps for things to be different.
Okay.
So yeah, no, it's a lot better than what it was, but it's still kind of not where we want it to be.
Yeah. So I think you have to start first with putting all the cards on the table.
Right.
All the ugly. And she's got ugly about you too, right?
100%.
Yeah. Everybody's got to put everything on there. And what you find is we can survive this, we can build something together. If you try to build something new, and by the way, getting back to the way things were, that's over. It doesn't exist anymore. And any attempt to try to get back to the way things were it's just honestly, it's a choice to be miserable because it's gone. You can remember it as so fun and so cool and yada yada, but it's over. It's not there. And so it's living in that reality. What we can do is build something new right now. And we have to put everything on the table. We have to put all the ingredients on the table. So let me ask you this. Have either of you cheated on each other?
No.
No? Is there any other secrets y'all are holding from each other?
No, not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
We've both, within the last 5 to 6 months, both sought out professional help from, different therapies and stuff like that.
Okay. Let's move past some of that. Like y'all sitting at a table right now.
Right.
What must be true to love each other well today? I think a lot of well-meaning therapists in these moments want to talk about stuff and relive stuff and go through feeling inventories. And I'm becoming less by the day. I'm becoming less convinced, just both from the data and from just anecdote after anecdote after anecdote, that a group of a couple that wants to rebuild their marriage into something amazing, it starts with a set of practices. Similar to if you just want to go lose 100 pounds, you're not going to feel like it ever. You just got to get up and go do the next thing. And then over time, you start to come alive. But we wait to feel alive, and then we end up going to pornography or somebody at work, or we just shut the whole system down.
Right.
And so what does it look like on a daily basis to wake up and say, how can I love you today? And to be honest with each other. Here's what I need. And the other person says, all right, I'm in.
Right. Well, it's a little difficult right now.
How come?
We're living separately for the time being.
Did she kick you out?
No.
Did you leave?
No.
Why are y'all separate?
She doesn't feel like we can break our patterns that we're in together because in the past we haven't been able to. And
the plural we, or are you being abusive?
No, it's plural we.
Okay.
I'm not great by any means, right? I'm not abusive, but our arguments that we get into or disagreements that we get into, it could be something, small and ridiculous, or it doesn't matter. It just kind of escalates. We go fight or flight like immediately.
Okay. Then I don't think that separation is always the right answer, but y'all are here. It could be a great place for you to practice this. Do y'all have any communication with each other?
Yeah.
Okay. What does a communication look like?
We talk every day.
Okay.
And I was against her leaving. I wanted to fix it under, our roof.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I didn't want to completely disregard what she was saying. So, I was just like, hey, if that's what you want to do, that's fine. Based on just our past and everything, she was kind of right. Hey, living here, we go 3 weeks a month and things are really good and we're really putting that into each other, and then we get comfortable and then it's revert right back to the same things we were doing that were harmful to our marriage.
And be careful about your language, dude, because home should be a place where you can drop your shoulders and it should be the warmest, most comfortable place on the planet. So I want, instead of we just get comfortable, I want that. I don't want home to be a third job. I want home to be the place where whoosh, and it has to be a place where you're highly intentional. And those don't have to be mutually exclusive.
Right.
Or maybe y'all just on week 4, y'all get real selfish. Or maybe on week 4, you get kind of entitled, or she gets kind of entitled. Speak in that language, because it's just about ownership. So here's the 2 things you can do now that you're separate for a bit. Is there a date on the end of the separation?
No, not really.
Okay.
No, not really.
Where a date becomes very important is everything becomes about feelings. I don't feel this. I feel this. And feelings are terrible barometers for reality. It's not their job. Their job is to keep you alive. And so these are going to have to be something that we practice our way into. And I'm taking you at your word that you haven't hit anybody, you haven't punched holes through the sheetrock, you're not screaming and cussing at her. That this is just about, dude, it just gets electric in the house and it's too much and we're just taking a break.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm trusting you on that. Here's the 2 things that you can do in this moment. Number 1, you can make yourself the best version of you. What does that look like for me? I have to get up an hour earlier than I want to. Period. I wish that wasn't true. I do. And I have to spend time in prayer and meditation. I have to spend some time reading my faith practice. I have to spend significant time exercising, lifting weights, doing something heavy. And I have to honor myself and eat well in the morning. If I don't do those things, I have made a choice for the day to suck. And then I have to wrap it up at the end by going to bed about an hour earlier than I want to. And over time, I become when I get out of that rhythm and routine, I get out of sorts. So now it's not so much discipline anymore. Now it's a gift. It's a blessing. But those are the things for me that I've got to do so that I can show up. And by the way, also I'm going to include in there, I have to have a few blow-ups. On Friday, I'm going to see the Avett Brothers. On Saturday, I'm going to see Frank Turner. Those are my 2 number 1s on planet Earth in the world. And I'm going to go see them both. And I'm going to get in at 2 a.m. It's going to be late nights. That's fine. That's kind of part of it, right?
Right.
I don't fall off the wagon, but occasionally I get off the wagon, I roll around in the mud, and then get back on there. That's what I'm talking about. And I don't know what that is for you, but that's number 1. What are the things that must be true for you to be the best version of yourself? Because at the end of the day, that's all you can control. And maybe going to counseling is part of that for you, but I want to implore you, it's got to be more than just sitting in a room chit-chatting about it and talking about it and talking about it. You have to come up with a set of practices and go do them. And here's the second thing. Every single day, I want you to ask your wife, how can I love you today? I don't know. How can I love you today? And it might be sending a kind text. It might be dropping something off at the house. It might be writing a letter or a note and sending it. But I want you to get in a daily practice of asking that question. Okay?
Okay.
And follow through. And probably she is going to say, I don't know. I can't think of anything. I don't know. And it might be incumbent on you to, how far away is she staying from you right now?
30 minutes.
Okay. Talk about a pain in the butt, dude.
Mm-hmm.
But drive over there and leave a card in the mailbox. Mail something from your house every single day. Have food delivered if y'all can afford it. Drop food off if you, I don't know what this looks like for y'all too. Go pick up her clothes and take them to the dry cleaner. And I'm not making you a sucker. I am trying to get you in a mode of getting your eyes out of your own belly button and looking up and saying, okay, I'm a husband. I'm a dad. How can I be of service and love these two women incredibly well? My wife and my daughter.
Right.
And I would really love for your daughter to wake up and have 60 letters that you mail her every day. Maybe a silly picture you drew, or go get yourself a coloring book and just color a picture and mail it to her. But something that is a practice that is, I spend intentional time with my daughter even when she was not sitting with me.
Right.
And those are all choices you can make. And it's not sexy, and it's not on YouTube, and it's all by yourself, all that stuff, yes. But it's real and it's true. The last thing I'll ask you, do you have a group of men that you hang out with?
Yeah.
Who? Tell me about them.
Buddies from work. We all pretty much, all of us but one, we all pretty much had kids at the same time.
Okay.
So, we all got to kind of chit chat about that. And
is that a good group? Because sometimes that can be a complaint group.
No, it's a good group, man. Okay. It's there's no doubt that we drop whatever we can for each other if somebody needs us. And
so you've got nobody at your house right now except for you?
Well, we kind of got off a little bit, but there. No, my wife and daughter are here right now.
Okay.
She watches my niece for my brother and his wife, and they do the same for us.
Okay.
So there's a couple of days out of the week where, like I said, things have been getting better, and she is here a couple of days during the week.
Okay.
We don't want to throw a wrench in their lives because we're kind of going through it.
Okay.
So
that tells me that she wants to make it work, and you do too.
Absolutely.
It's amazing.
We've put the cards on the table. Cool. And we both want it to.
Okay.
I think we're just both a little obviously scared. Just we don't want to be divorced. We don't want any of those things to happen. We don't.
Okay, then you have to start taking action. How can I love you today? Here's a more elevated version of that question. What can I do today to make you feel loved, to help you feel loved? I can't make you do anything. How can I help you feel loved? And sometimes it's as simple as putting the dishes in the dishwasher. A buddy of mine that I was out with till late last night said, come to find out, it's grabbing a cup of coffee from Starbucks and dropping it off. Him and his wife work at the same business, dropping it off by her office. He's like, dude, I wish I'd known that 10 years ago. It's amazing. Right?
Right.
What must be true? What must be true?
For her, it's the local chips and salsa.
Okay. Make that a thing. Make that a practice. And in 30 days and 60 days, if you feel I am on the road, I'm on the path, I am doing the things every day that make me feel well and whole, the things I know I need to do. And I'm starting every day with how can I love you? And I'm leaning into that. I'm going to get chips and salsa. I'm finding childcare so that me and my wife can just go for a walk around the neighborhood in the evening when she's at home. And when she's not, she's going to go home. She's going to open up her bags to unpack wherever she's staying. And she's going to have a letter for me just letting her know, I love you, I love you, I love you. I'm going to practice my way into this. And then in 30 or 60 days, if she hasn't reciprocated anything, then you can sit down and use the words I. I would feel loved if. And then she can opt in or out. But hopefully she'll see the initiative you're taking and then she'll reciprocate. And if you're just like, sick, that's not going to be helpful at this stage. What must be true for you to feel loved? Can you just go for a walk with me? Can we hold hands? Can I go to the store with you? And let's reestablish connections in our chest with our guts. And then the sex will follow. I think you're on the right path, man. I think you're going through a real common ups and downs, and oh my gosh, I think y'all are right in the thick of it, man. I want y'all to slowly move past talking and move past, I don't feel. Let's just start acting anew. And all of that starts with, how can I love you today? You're worth it, and so is she, brother. Thanks for the call, man. All right, let's go out to Grand Rapids, Michigan, and talk to Lori. What's up, Lori?
Hi, Dr. John. Thanks for taking my call. I appreciate your time and your guidance.
Of course. What's up?
So a couple of weeks ago, my husband and I discovered that our 15-year-old daughter was sneaking her boyfriend into our home in the middle of the night through her bedroom window.
Oh, man.
And as the story unraveled that weekend, we found out that this isn't the first time and that they have been sexually active in her bedroom across the hall from our room on multiple occasions.
Okay.
So my husband and I are obviously dealing with this a little bit differently. We've doled out the consequences for her actions. And
what are those consequences? What did y'all do? Did y'all go scorched earth?
Well, we didn't burn the bed yet. So she was 5 days away from turning 16. Obviously, driving privileges have not been given to her, so she is riding the big yellow school bus to and from school. Her cell phone has been taken away. She no longer has a bedroom door. She has a bedroom, but no door. And she cannot participate in any after-school extracurricular activities for the rest of the year. Big consequences, yes. And of course, she feels those are too extreme.
So let me ask you this. This is just adult to adult. You're a parent of a daughter. I'm a parent of a daughter.
Mm-hmm.
Taking away her cell phone, taking her door off, taking away her privacy, taking away any after-school connection with kids, taking away her ability to be with her friends. What is that? Connect that to underage sexual activity.
We made those consequences before we found out that she had been sexually active. And I think the majority of the reason for those consequences is because throughout the weekend, we got different iterations of lies. So we tried to at least open up a space so that she could just kind of tell us what was happening. When we found out this was happening, we woke up one morning to a fresh Michigan snow and saw footprints down our sidewalk all the way down the driveway.
Oh man, that's like
road,
a horror movie.
This is how we found this out.
Okay, can I cut to the chase? And yep. I'm going to say something direct, and I'm saying this to my friend, not at you. Okay, I'm just with you on this one. When I used to work with college students all the time, I would call them in and say, "Hey, you've been accused of sexual assault. You have been accused of cheating. I have a whole bunch of texts where you threatened to kill somebody." Like, that was my job. I did that all day, every day. And every time somebody would leave, I would always tell them, whether they were an 18-year-old or they were a 29-year-old, whether they were my grad students or they were a freshman in college, I would tell them, you have 24, sometimes 48 hours to come back and change your story. And I'm going to allow it to be as though that's the first thing you told me. Because I know the terror that is coursing through your veins right now. And when we get scared, we have default, we just react.
Yeah.
Right? And so you get to come back. After 48 hours, 24 hours, 48 hours, depending on what the issue was, then you're going to get in more trouble for being a person who lacks integrity than for whatever it is you did. Okay? But I'm telling you that to tell you, it sounds like some of these are in totality. It sounds like two adults got really embarrassed that they missed something right across their hallway, and they got really pissed off, and they just used all of their power like a Marvel character.
Yeah.
And the thing that a 15-year-old girl that's sneaking a boy into her room and then is sexually active at 15 is a body that is screaming for connection. And it's as though, it's like in the old days when, I forgot what it is. They used to, I'll have to think it up. They used to give, the cure for diarrhea used to be, back in the 1800s, was to dehydrate the body, make it worse, right?
Okay. Yeah.
And so for a brain, a tiny little adolescent brain that is screaming for connection, so much so they're going to risk everything, that the solution can't be less connection. And my guess is, with this type of response, and tell me if, dude, you could say, you're an idiot, Delony, you're wrong on this one. And I would love to be wrong on behalf of your daughter here. But your husband didn't take her out and hold her and say, I'm so sorry. Tell me,
No.
like, okay. My guess is this is a temper tantrum, Dad. My guess is you haven't taken her out and said, there are some things about your mom you didn't know. I'm going to tell you about when I was in high school. I'm going to tell you about when I was in college. Because 15-year-old sexual activity is not safe. They're a child, right? And so I'm not saying they should be allowed to do this at all. I'm all about consequences. I'm all about accountability, okay? I don't care if you're a person of faith. If you're a secular, 15 years old is too early to be having sex, period. End of story. Conversation's over, okay?
Yep.
And so I'm with you on that. But the move has to be to increase connection, not take it away. And that has to be done not through I've got this huge power in this like these lightning bolts I'm going to fire across the hall into your room and into your life. This is a dad that says, as punishment, you have to have dinner with me twice a week, just us two. And I don't have time for that. You don't have time not to, because now this cat's out of the bag.
Yeah.
What I would tell you is I've never, ever, ever, in all my years of working with adolescents, I've never seen scorched earth be a response that wins in the long term. I just never have seen it. I also can't imagine my teenager sneaking somebody in their room across the hall from me. Right? I mean, I can get raged out just thinking about it. But it's my job as the adult to remain the adult, not to revert back to being a kid.
Yeah.
Has your husband just lost his mind?
His weapon of choice is the silent treatment.
Nightmare,
so
dude. That's a nightmare for a 15-year-old girl.
Yeah. Hasn't spoken to her since it happened. And she and I have had lots of conversations. So my conversation with her, and, that's partly due to listening to you, is because I've been able to take those tools and go to her and say, what you did, what your actions were wrong. You're not bad. I love you no matter what. I did stupid things too when I was a kid, and so we've had those conversations. We're talking, we're doing all those good things. But he just completely pulled back. And I think because he read the text on her phone that kind of told us the story of what had been going on, he's hurt that she did this so young and that there was, kind of vulgarity. I mean, you don't think of your children at 15 as being, that promiscuous. And I think it's the realization for him that that's what happened. And he just feels so disgusted, is what he told me this weekend when I tried to talk to him. So, I don't know how much.
Does he not remember being 15?
Well, I think he remembers how he was when he was 15, so he's trying to protect his girls from being that.
And then he handed him a smartphone with access to the planet?
Exactly.
Or worse, the planet. My buddy Sean Ryan said this the other day. You're not giving your kid access to the world. You're giving your world access to your kid.
True. Yeah. Yeah.
And learns everything. And I mean, you see what I'm saying? So you have a disconnected dad. Let me just say it this way. And this doesn't always play through with the literature, but it's something I live by. My daughter and my son, but I'm just talking daughters here because that's what we're talking. My daughter will get connected, deep affection from a man. That will be me, or that will be some boy that says, I love you. Can you believe your dad did that? And whatever the thing I did is, I made her come in on time. I gave her a curfew. I didn't let her have social media. Whatever the thing is, she will get that connection, period. And so it sounds like, based on his reaction and it's not about him. It's about his baby girl. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I'm trying to think through that because like every other parent, you feel like, what weren't we giving to her that we thought we were? That's kind of where I'm at right now.
I get that. But what you're doing is you're taking a 15-year-old girl screaming for, will somebody just love me? And y'all have made it about yourself. What did we do?
Yeah.
What can we do? It's not about y'all right now. Yeah. It's about this girl who has lost not only her boyfriend, not only been super embarrassed, not only she's lost her. Everybody. She's lost her parents, her mom and dad. You'll have siblings? Does she have siblings?
She has two older sisters.
Are they helping or making this worse?
No, they haven't really talked to her about it.
Good gosh, why?
Well, they're in the military, so they're not local to her. And since she doesn't have a phone anymore, there's been no connection to her. I mean, when we've talked about it as a family, their response has just been, wow, we can't believe how dumb she was.
Yes, this is very dumb.
Yeah.
And if we can all count on 15-year-olds to do one thing, it's dumb things, right? Because they're 15. That's why they need us. I can't tell you how important it is for your husband.
So how do I get him to that point?
You tell him you're going to lose your daughter forever. Tell him to call me.
Yeah. And I think if I say that to him, like you said, temper tantrum parenting, I think he'll just be like, whatever. She doesn't respect me. She didn't respect our house. Why?
He doesn't respect her.
Why would I want those things? Yeah.
This is a 15-year-old that is going looking for somebody to say I have value.
Yeah.
Because my dad only gives me value when I sing and dance the right way, and my bed's made up. My mom only gives me value if I don't do bad things or good. I don't know y'all's relationship, but
yeah,
this is the time that I'm going to give you a roadmap. He's not going to do this. And the person who will suffer is your 15-year-old. But I'm going to give you and everybody listening a roadmap. He gets home from work today, and he picks her up from school instead of the bus. And he takes her out for some kind of quasi-nice meal, even though it's only 3:30 or 4:30 when you get out of school. Maybe ice cream. And he says, I am so sorry. I totally blew this. I screwed this up for years, and I'm asking you to forgive me. And that's how that has to start. And I know there are millions of parents listening to this call right now going, are you freaking kidding me? She snuck a boy in. And listen, we'll get to that. You can't do that. You can't. But there's a context to that behavior. There's a desperation to that behavior.
Yeah.
Now, just because she has a connected relationship with her mom and dad doesn't mean she's not going to want to hook up with somebody. They're experimental. They're 15, they're 16, they're 17. That's where they need parents to play defense, to be preventative, right? Yep. That's why I'm so adamant about kids not having access to the whole planet. And my son had a friend last night who was going through a tough time on a school night. I let him go out, and he was on the phone so late. And I let him. because it was right. He was learning some lessons. And so I'm not a robot. I'm not soulless. But she's going to go looking for that connection somewhere.
Yeah.
Here's what she needs from her mom. Sex at 15 is dangerous. It's not safe. It's not wise. It's not smart for 50 different reasons. And if you have any wisdom to pass along, this is the time now. Not, mom did some dumb things. It's time to get a little more specific because y'all read some text messages and things got really specific. And I am asking you for your safety, for your future, to not be sexually active. And I have to ask you if you're being safe when you are.
Yeah.
Both and, right?
Yep.
And the people that I talk to on a regular basis that are all faith-based, the answer is no, it's period, and we move on. And then my friends and community who are not faith-based are all just be safe about it. And both are in complete conversations. It has to be you can't. But my God, if you do, don't be stupid. Don't add stupid on top of stupid. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. We immediately went to our family physician.
I know you did.
I asked,
the whole
help me with this, and
yes. I know. I just can imagine. You went down the playbook. We're getting STD testing and pregnancy testing, and we're taking your door off. No phone, no. Right?
Yeah.
Totally get the
and
impulse.
A conversation about safety if she chooses to, go down that road again. So.
Right. Totally get that. But let's figure out ways she can connect with her sisters. Let's figure out ways that if dad's going to continue to act like a child, and his response is very childish, and I would tell him that if he was on the phone here. I don't like to talk like this about somebody's partner when they're not on the phone, but this, I have lived. It's been my responsibility to take care of these kids when they come to college for almost 20 years, and it breaks my heart because they get to school and they are squashed and they are completely unplugged from any sort of family system of values, of love, of connection, of safety. And they go to college and they are just sitting ducks. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yep.
Because there's a whole bunch of different people, different ideologies, all kind of different people that will say, I believe in you. And it's a nightmare.
Yeah. Conversation with we've been married 29 years, and this isn't the first time that he's responded like this. His behavior. I mean, he got upset with our middle daughter because she used purple color dye on the bottoms of her hair, and I don't think he spoke to her for months. So at this stage in my life, I'm less accepting of his parenting. So there's struggle between him and I, and we're trying to resolve this.
I get that.
With a daughter, it's a lot,
I know. That little girl needs her dad in a bad way right now. In a real bad way.
Yeah.
And I appreciate you trying to be an advocate on her behalf.
Right, yeah. Is there something that I can counsel her to start the conversation since he wants?
It's not her job.
Have her be the adult.
It's not her job. It will never be her job.
Yeah.
Do you have an uncle or a grandparent or a brother that can reach out to her and say the words, your dad is acting like a child right now and I'm sorry. I love you and I see you and I'm safe?
Yeah, we have no family connection. He has no strong male relationship.
Older sisters that can call and say, hey, we did this with dad too. He acts like a 2-year-old with his temper tantrums and gives us the silent treatment. You're not evil. You're not bad. You're dumb. You did something stupid, right? But you're still loved. You're still in our gang. You're still our sister.
Yeah. I can definitely
She can't sit in her room completely unplugged from planet Earth and having the most important relationship walk by and act like she does not exist. I can't express enough. That is throwing her at some other dude to say, take care of my daughter because I won't do it.
Yeah.
That's what that behavior is doing.
That's my childhood, so I think that's why
okay.
Watch this happen.
And let me say, that right there, I should have been more clear. I'm not suggesting you sit down and tell your daughter about all the men you've been with or haven't been with. I'm not telling your daughter about the time you let a guy sneak into your dorm room or into your bedroom. I am suggesting you sit down and say, let me tell you about Granddad. This is hard for me to say, but I got in trouble when I was a kid, and he ignored me for months, and I'm so sorry. I'm working with your dad because this isn't right. Because at some point, some adult that cares about her has to call out this behavior.
Yeah.
And
thank you for saying that.
If it's not him, it's got to be you.
Yeah. I agree.
And I'll say this. He is choosing to not be on team family. And so he's going to blame you and say, why are you talking about this? You're going against me. He has opted out of this family system because he's choosing silence. He's out. He opted out. He put his dad card down and said, I'm going to go over here because my little ego is more important than wading into this and putting my 15-year-old daughter's head on my chest and holding her tightly and letting her know she's loved. Because we're about to go to hell. The accountability on the back end is going to be rough. But she needs to know that I love her. And then really it's a whole separate call. And I guess we can do this call another day. It's a whole separate call on what's the appropriate response. Like what is appropriate disconnection, right? What is appropriate accountability when you find out your teenager is sexually active? Scorched earth doesn't work. Just letting it ride is a terrible option. So what do you do? How do you wade into it? It's hard. That's going to be for another call. Lori, thank you so much for the call. If your husband wants to call me, man, I'll be happy to talk to him. That little girl needs her mom and dad and her sisters real quick.
So the movie is called Something to Stand For, and it's based on stories from my podcast. The podcast is called The Way I Heard It. I would have called it The Rest of the Story, but that was Paul Harvey's title. And so I couldn't steal his title, but I did borrow his format, which was to basically tell you something you didn't know about somebody you do. So rather than give somebody a lecture or a sermon or a history lesson, give them a mystery, right? Yeah. And let them try and unpack it as you go. I thought Paul Harvey was ingenious in that way. I agree. I think Garrison Keillor and Charles Kuralt and Studs Terkel and George Plimpton, these guys all immersed themselves in the stories before they told them. You know,
they created a world.
They did, and they made it personal, and they also made it relative and relevant. Right. And many times they did it on the radio or on the page. You know, they didn't rely on a camera necessarily to do it. They're gone, and in no way do I think I can fill their footsteps, but I do think I can follow in their footsteps.
Yeah.
You know,
you did.
Well, that's what the podcast attempted to do. Those stories turned into a TV show called The Story Behind the Story. And just a few months ago, somebody came and said, one of the guys over at the Fathom Group that do these, theatrical cinematic releases, they said, I have a lot of really great stories in here, and we do these themed events. So what if we did like a Christmas special with all these Christmas-type stories you have? You could find probably 9 or so. And I said, yeah, I could, but what about Independence Day? They're like, great. So we took 9 unapologetically patriotic stories about people you know, but stories you don't. And that just became the basis for the movie. We stitched it together with a field trip of sorts to D.C., where I visit the monuments and the memorials that were constructed to honor some of the people in the film. But it happened so fast, John. And believe me, there's no like wish fulfillment thing on my bucket list to make a movie. But when I really thought about it, I realized, it's a great opportunity in 2024 to put something on the screen. The final story in the movie is actually called Something to Stand For. And I wrote it a few years ago during the whole Colin Kaepernick thing. And I didn't write it in anger, but to your point, I just thought, how can we be so confused? How can you guys not know that the national anthem is a protest song? You can't protest a protest song unless you really fundamentally don't understand how it came to be. And if you don't understand the basic pillars of the history upon which our country's based, then you're really not much different than the person who drives down Van Ness Street in San Francisco with absolutely no understanding of the giant sewer system beneath them, right? So it's the same sort of thing, right? I mean, when I found that Dirty Jobs parallel into this kind of storytelling, it excited me because I realized that in the end, your shows basically, tell me if I'm wrong, but it seems as if the thing that you're offering is understanding and awareness, self-awareness and understanding through a more honest.
It's very similar. It's like, hey, you think this is the issue. There's something underneath the sidewalk. That's it.
And for me, that thing under the sidewalk, that thing in our past, it's always the same thing or a version of it, a variation on a theme. And it's a disconnect between the past and the present, and the connective tissue, the grout between those tiles is gratitude. If you are fundamentally grateful for what Thomas Jefferson did, an imperfect man with an enormous brain and an incredible vision, if you're fundamentally grateful for what he did, you're going to have a hard time pulling a statue down. If you're fundamentally grateful for what electricians do and construction workers do, you're going to have a hard time flipping them off when you're stuck in traffic and late for your appointment, right? So I think in some ways, all of the jagged little pills that we've become, all the brittleness out there today could be mitigated. And this will sound very tropey, platitudinous, but that attitude of gratitude, it's a thing.
It's absolutely a thing.
And it applies to our history. It applies to our workforce. It applies to our headlines. And, it's very, very hard to feel grateful when you've lost trust in the institutions that we've talked about. But we still have to find a way. Because if we don't, well, it'll just eat us alive.
Well, we're the only historical trajectory is ash. That's it. It's burnt. We burn it to the ground.
Say that again. The only
historical trajectory. We have a whole bunch of roadmaps when no, I'm just going to burn your thing to the ground because it's not my thing.
Yeah.
Instead of, and I wonder as you're talking, it reminds me of, there was some well-intentioned, and it came out of some faith-based literature back in the 80s. Don't fight in front of your kids. You're going to scare them. You're going to destroy them. Go in the back bedroom. Y'all have your arguments. Y'all fight it out, and then come back out a united front. And that makes sense logically.
That's really good, man.
And you stole from kids this picture of those two people are really getting after it. They're arguing. And they still love each other and they're committed. And so now you have a generation of young people that get married. They are in a long-term committed relationship. They have the one big blow up and they are on to the next because they don't have a mental map for how do I love you and critique and sit in tension with you because we're all going the same direction.
Think of the experts, the expert class upon whom we rely as the parents in your metaphor.
That's right.
And think of the rest of us as the kids. In moments of fear, uncertainty, COVID, we look to these institutions in much the same way a frightened kid would look to a parent, right? And we don't just need a bowl of warm milk, you know. We need the truth.
And the truth.
We need the truth. We need to understand, because in reality, we're not actually children.
Right.
We're more like the townspeople in the emperor's new clothes, right? We need courage.
Right.
And we need to stiffen our spines. And we can only do that if we know what the truth is. But our experts, what do we do when our experts not only don't agree on anything, but fight right in front of us? The experts didn't go in the back bedroom to sort it out and come out with a consensus.
Yeah.
They might have tried to stay 6 feet apart, mask, blah, 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 down the list, not to make it about that. But we didn't get clear, convincing, consistent guidance.
Right.
It's almost been a split, and I hate to bifurcate things this way. I hate to barbell it, right? It's either or. But what I've heard a lot is this has been the worst year ever, compounded and compounded and compounded. And then there's this also quiet whispering, which is, this has been the best year for me and my family ever, right? Like financially, we just went to work and it's been awesome. Someone got laid off, and so I went and got another job. It's paying me more money. My marriage is better because we had to figure stuff out. My marriage, like the SEO data here, like people are Googling divorce, is just got like a trend line, right? Some of that falls into this middle ground, which is people have made decisions, they've made mistakes, they've screwed stuff up. They've done things that violate their core values, is the way I would say that. And we just beat the crap out of ourselves when we do that. When we find ourselves violating one of our core values, and we say something we didn't mean. And I just wrote some things down, right? When you text somebody you shouldn't have, when you call an old boyfriend and we lie about it, when we promise ourselves that we are not going to eat sugar anymore or drink anymore, or we're going to work out, whatever. These failures or these violations, right? In the book, you talk about money mistakes. I don't know a person this year that has not made money mistakes. Like, we've got this set of rules in our house. We got a budget in our house. We have nothing in our house. And they look back and go, oh my gosh, like, what have I done, right? How have you experienced, and by the way, you said money mistakes. I'm calling them failures and violations. And you're like, money mistakes. You're got such a positive spin on it. You're so kind.
Just a mistake.
Yes. How have you experienced these mistakes this year?
Personally, you mean?
It's more fun if you tell us personally, but
yeah,
you talk to bajillions of people.
Yeah, what was funny though is I wrote back to the book, John.
Well played.
I wrote the book before my third kid, before Charles came, because I wanted to have a full maternity leave. So the manuscript of the book was not due until March of 2020. Well, I wrote it and ended it October of 19. Okay. So there was like a big chunk of time that manuscript just sat before it was due. So during COVID, I was editing the book, which was such a different take, right? You're like in this weird world, and it was this pre-world before COVID, and then I'm sitting here in COVID editing the book. And so for me, a lot of my mistakes came, the spending chapter, I talk about why we spend the way we spend. And that was huge for me. I even edited some of that to put these stories in, because I was like, I literally am sitting here during a pandemic buying off Amazon more than I ever have in my life.
Right,
and I'm justifying every purchase because of its price.
Right.
Oh, it's just $15. It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
It was just that, because it feels good, right?
Yeah.
And we know this, like there's a dopamine hit that happens when you spend. And so for me, I was caught in that so much. And not even because I necessarily was stressed. I was more bored at times. It just felt good. It was exciting. It was something exciting going on, that there was going to be a package showing up at my front door. Do you know what I'm saying?
Like a friend showing up. Yeah.
Kind of, and I'm like,
for me?
I get to unpack it, and I forgot I ordered that.
What a great gift from myself.
Oh my gosh, I love it.
I'm the best. Yeah.
I'm so great. So that, it was a lot of that kind of stuff. It was like that medicator, and because it felt good.
So I had similar, where I would show up, I'd go to the hardware store for a quick thing, and I'd show up with Sheila, they've got deep freezers, and I got another one. She's like, we have one, John. And I was like, I know, but, just in case.
Because of a scarcity mindset?
Yeah. And she would ask, so what do you think's going to happen? And what are we going to put in there? And my head's like, well, you you just start, it's just nonsense, right? So one of the things I've experienced over the last decade, if you will, is that people often talk to themselves, not often, all the time, talk to themselves in ways they would never let somebody else talk to somebody else, right?
Yep.
It's unbelievable how we abuse ourselves internally. Put us in the mind of someone who's, unlike this show, has a successful show, just gets sad and writes a book about it, right? Just experiences some things and can crank books out. How do you handle negative self-talk? Like, you get these purchases and you're like, I teach people this for a living, right? Like me, I teach people how to be well and how to have good marriages. And then I say something stupid and then I go to bed and I'm like, good job, marriage guy, right? And my wife's like, how about you sleep in the yard, right? How do you experience the self-talk and how do you work your way through it?
That's a good question. I tend to, sadness, I have learned, is like the emotion I hate the most.
Okay.
I don't want to be sad.
All right.
And I will do things in order not to be sad. Everything's fine. So I probably could sit in those emotions more than I do. But yeah, I mean, I think, the moment I realized, oh yeah, this Amazon package or this or that, or like, or
you just catch that one glance in your husband's eye and he's like,
yes,
you know what I mean?
You're judging these purchases. And he's like, what? I mean, I would say the negative self-talk of, oh, you did it again. Of course you were. Of course you did. It's almost that. But then I just go to justify it because I don't want to feel that. So I say, well,
okay, you go to
and
straight,
then
like, hey,
I
it's
go,
all good,
are you
dude.
ready for this?
Yeah.
I go to the budget and I say, well, it's in the budget. And I just can justify it because Matthew McConaughey said this and I appreciate it. Just because you can, what did he say? It was so good. Just because you're able, isn't necessary.
Okay.
Or something like that.
Yeah.
Which is a big question. Like, that's like, oh my, wow. That's it. That's it for me.
So we
that's
can, but should we?
Yeah. Do I need it? No, I don't. I don't need another necklace. That's $8.99 from probably China. Like,
I
don't need that.
I saw a great Instagram thing that was like, how does $4.95 plus $8.50 plus $7.17 at Target equal $137? Like, when you get to the end, they just add up.
Yes.
So how do you teach somebody to recover from that shame, that mistake? That, like, what an idiot, dude.
That your self-worth, who you are, right? This is like very Brene Brown, but it's true. Like, you are not the mistake. Like, you can make mistakes, so that's not who you are.
Right.
So it's that level of grace. And I feel like I find people that have a tough time extending grace usually have a tough time extending it to themselves as well.
Okay.
So it's kind of back to what you're saying. Like, the way we treat ourselves, we wouldn't always treat other people like that.
Yeah.
So that's
and then give me the other side, the one that is constantly over-gracing themselves.
The enabler. That's probably what I would call them.
Almost when you enable yourself, like when you're the constant justifier, right?
The justifier.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh yeah, it's in the budget. It's fine. You can afford that. It's just $15.
So give us one question if you're an over-justifier. And again, I love this book because it's about your money, but it's so much more than that. So it is, I shouldn't have texted that person. Went into justification, right? My old boyfriend just reached out. My wife doesn't need to know about that, or my husband doesn't need to know about that. It's all good, right? Or I wasn't going to eat sugar, but it was just a birthday party. It was just a Christmas thing. I don't want to be rude to Kelly. She brought us whatever. What? I just bought this. I know it was in the budget, but it's fine. What's a sentence a justifier can ask themselves? There's no right or wrong to this.
Specifically around spending money, I think it would be the question of why, simply. Like, why did you do it? Was it to feel good? Mm-hmm. Okay. Was it because you're bored? Yeah. Okay. Well, why are you okay not being bored? Because I don't want to sit alone with my thoughts.
Yeah,
okay. Well, why? You know what I'm saying? Like, asking that. Was it you that said it? It's like the 4 why level. Who was that talked about that? Ask why 4 times and you can get to the root.
Oh, okay.
Which I love that.
Yeah.
So
keep digging.
Take the credit. I thought I was going to credit you for it. Was that you?
No,
okay.
Super wasn't me. I'm way more sophisticated than that, but yeah, I'll take it. So why don't you like sadness? And that sounds silly, but why do you avoid it?
It's the one emotion that makes me uncomfortable. I don't like it.
How come?
I don't like people being sad. I don't know. because my counselor would be like, Rachel, we've paid many sessions for you to work on this, and I can't come up with the answer.
You roofed my house, and we talked
yeah,
about
I know. You paid for my summer vacation.
That's
for all
right.
your sessions. I don't know. It makes me uncomfortable more for the other person too.
Okay.
I think I can put on a level of sadness, but I also don't want to stay there because there's a level of me that's like, pull yourself up by your bootstraps.
Okay. And so
Move
sadness
on.
falls into an
necessary emotion. But it doesn't. Thank you, Dr. Chip
You should
Dog.
write that down and take that to your therapist.
Sadness allows you to grieve what you really love.
All right, let's go to Justin in Albuquerque, the 505. What's up, Justin?
Hey, John, how you doing?
I'm good, my brother. What are you doing?
I'm just taking a break from shoeing some horses. So.
Atta boy, dude. Shoeing some horses, man. Out there in New Mexico. Good for you, brother.
Yeah. So, but my question is, I guess I wrote it down. It says, I'm struggling with my sexual relationship with my wife. I obviously want to have a good one, but I have internal struggles, and I feel a Pavlovian response of shame when it does come to sex. Even practicing desire feels a little bit shameful for me.
Okay.
But then I feel very lonely and robbed of connection because of that. And so I'm just kind of at a loss of what to do.
For sure, man. Dude, have you ever said that out loud before?
Yeah, quite a bit.
Well, thanks for making me one of many that you've said that out loud to. So when you say shame, well, let me back up. You said, obviously, I want this. That sounds like something that somebody told you you're supposed to want. So I would take obviously off the table. Is it something that you want?
Yeah, I would like that.
Okay.
Because I don't know. I just feel very robbed, and I was of connection. And when I got married, I was 21, and that's just been not what I expected, and I've been trying to make the best of it. I just don't know what else to do.
There you go. So tell me what shame means. What does that feel like? Where does that come from?
I think, well, I know for a fact that it comes from, well, my parents got divorced when I was really young, and and they were both emotionally absent, even though they were kind of there. They were just absent altogether. And so the place that I found connection at a really young age was pornography.
Okay.
And so I been struggling, obviously with that for most of my life. And so when I did get married, and I expected that connection to be filled, I turned into my wife's trash can of all her complaints and struggles and stuff like that. So then I felt I wasn't being heard, or I was just kind of a trash can as well. And so I've continued to use that pornography as that way of feeling connection, so I can get through to the next day.
Okay. Does your wife know?
Does my wife know?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, we've been talking and trying to work through it since before we got married. So.
How long have you been married?
4 years.
4 years. Okay. Does she know you're still using pornography to get through the day?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it's not every day, but it just, when life gets tough now, it seems like it's, So.
Okay. There's several places we can go with it. I may be way out to lunch here. So sometimes somebody experiences sexual abuse. Somebody experiences pornography at a really young age, and sex gets lumped in with "I'm dirty," right? And or kids who masturbate a lot, just want, right? I'm dirty. I'm gross. And that gets translated to when I get married or when I get into a sexual relationship with somebody I trust and that I'm with for the long haul, that will all go away. And it stuns people when they roll over and their bodies, they go right back into the I'm gross and shameful, right? Or they try to cover themselves up, right? It becomes a part of them, right?
Yeah.
That's about sex, but it's also not.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So trying to deal with just the sex part of that it's not ever going to get to why doesn't Justin like himself? And also, why can't Justin let his needs be heard by his wife? And why can't she let her needs be heard by her husband? And why can't we stumble and fumble and practice meeting each other's needs in ways that we've never had to do ever before?
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think it does.
That's a different conversation than I feel gross after being with my wife, or I feel unfulfilled.
Yeah.
Right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Okay. So the first thing in becoming a new person, right? Coming up with a new identity. This is who I'm gonna be. Is stopping the behaviors that like do no harm, right? I don't know what to do next, but I know to stop doing this.
Yeah.
And tell me what you feel like when you are starved for connection. What does that feel like in your body?
I just feel very lonely and easily irritated.
Okay.
And I just feel very, I get super depressed and I start questioning a lot of things. And
What's that?
like questioning, I mean, I honestly question, just because it's happened over and over again. I just question like the purpose of life and stuff. So
There's more to that. Keep going. You're being
Well,
honest with me. Don't fade out on me now.
well, I think that I don't know, I just have a lot of anxiety in my chest right now. But a lot of times when it does come to this, it goes 0 to 100 in feeling suicidal, and not that I'm going to. I felt so lonely for so long. I just don't know. I just want that connection, and so I just feel very like why am I here if this is what life is going to be like?
There you go. Thank you for saying that out loud.
Yeah.
You've probably had a lot of conversations about pornography, a lot of conversations about sex, a lot of conversations about, hey, all you do is come home and complain to me about your life. When's the last time you sat down and looked another person in the eye and said, I'm super lonely and I don't know what to do?
Me and my wife just had that kind of a conversation.
Okay.
On Sunday, and I felt heard, but at the same time, it kind of goes back to just how we've been living.
Right. Here's the deal. Y'all are at a place now where you've exceeded your capacity to do this on your own.
Yeah.
Okay. And this is about your life. This is about your joy and purpose and role. It's about your marriage. It's about your family tree. It's about all of it. Okay.
Yeah.
And this is a backyard project that y'all got to dig in with shovels. And all of a sudden you realized we're sitting on top of a huge sinkhole. We need to call professionals in here.
Mm-hmm.
Because y'all can have deep, meaning conversations. And I'm proud of you for Sunday saying, I'm so lonely. I don't think I want to be here anymore. I'm proud. Like, that's hard to say those words out loud. But you say that out loud, and neither of you have the skills to then go, okay, what do we do next? What does that look like next? You just fall back into what we've been doing because we don't know what to do. Like, you see what I'm saying? It's like driving, you hit an ice patch and you start spinning. If you don't already know how to turn into the spin and how to take your foot off the gas without hitting the brake and all, if you don't know how to do that, you just keep your foot on the gas and that thing spins faster and faster till it flies off the bridge, right?
Yeah.
So what you need today is to reach out to a professional in your community. And if you got to drive. If you need to get connected with like my friends at BetterHelp, when you do it online, do it online. but you have reached, you are shoeing a horse right now, and you just realize there's a massive foot infection. You need to call a veterinarian. That's what just happened. Okay. I will tell you, shame is universal across all cultures, and it helps us stay aligned with our groups. Okay. And if it gets out from underneath us, if you do something that violates your core values, right, and your picture of who you should be, your identity, if you do something, you're going to feel shame. And I'm okay with that. It's when it turns into, the shame becomes something that becomes a part of us, right? Or you've heard me talk about the bricks. If you do something that violates your core values, you're going to pick up a brick. You're going to hold it. I did this thing. It's when you put that brick in your own backpack and say, this isn't something I did. This is who I am.
Okay.
Right? And you have to get out of the I am language and come up with a new I am. I am a guy who's going to steward his mind and his body. I'm a guy who's going to steward his marriage. Not I'm a guy who's going to quit looking at porn.
Okay.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's a much different proposition to say, I'm a guy who just takes care of his body. And part of that is not putting trash in my mind. I'm a guy who stewards relationships so that when I start feeling lonely, I feel it way on the front end. And I tell my wife, hey, I'm feeling disconnected. And we've already met with a counselor, and she knows disconnection for me is sexual. It's intimacy, right? I miss being with you. And some people, loneliness means I miss just sitting and talking with you. And sometimes couples have, one of them disconnection is sexual, one of them's disconnection is conversational, one of them's disconnection, I just want you to hold me. Whatever that looks like is fine. It's being able to have that language in your relationship. And she knows it's not her fault, or maybe part of it doesn't matter. Cool. Then tonight we're going to be intimate. Tomorrow we're going to knock off work a little bit earlier. Whatever that looks, you see what I'm saying? We're going to create some language in our house because we're trying to quit Justin from looking at porn. No. Because we're a couple that stewards our marriage. We're a couple that stewards our bodies. I just eat right. Not because I'm trying to cut carbs. I eat right because I'm a guy who takes care of his body. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's a totally different proposition, right? So I want you to remember this with all of your heart. It's from the great Brene Brown, the shame researcher. Shame eats secrets for breakfast is how she says it. If you have secrets in your marriage and in your home and in your friend relationships, your body, it has a physiological consequence. It will cost your body. Okay?
Okay.
Means when you're feeling disconnected at the very front end and you try to hide it from your wife, and you know once that domino gets hit and it starts going and knocking all the other dominoes down, you know where this ends up. It ends up, you wait for your wife to go to the grocery store, and then you pull out the laptop, and now you're off to the races, and you're already feeling bad as it's happening, but also you can't stop it, right?
Yeah.
Okay. The moment you start feeling disconnected on a Tuesday, instead of it waiting till Thursday or Friday, you tell your wife, I'm starting to feel disconnected.
Okay.
That's secrets. Okay. And she is going to learn through professional counseling that y'all two are going to go to together. Y'all are going to learn, you're going to learn how to hear those needs from each other without it setting off your alarms. Now, you mentioned your parents. You come from a house where you're neglected. They had their own lives and you were just a bother. Okay. Recognize in your body that it has identified relationships as something to be avoided because they hurt. You got a little boy inside of you that for his whole life has been asking, what's wrong with me? Why wouldn't they talk to me? There must be something screwed up inside of me. Is that fair? Is that right?
Yeah, you're right.
And now you have a need and you're married. You've got somebody who's committed in front of her friends and God, I'm going to be here to meet your needs and you're going to be there to meet mine. And all of a sudden that relationship alarm starts going off and you withdraw and you go to nameless, anonymous, pseudo intimate sources on the internet because it's safer than entering into a relationship because you did that once when you were a kid and both your parents said, nah, we don't want you.
Yeah.
Right? So here's the deal. It's like you fell off a cliff into a raging river and you almost drown. You still got to get out of that river, dry off, but you're going to have water that night to drink because your body has to have it to live, right? You can't just avoid water forever. You got to have relationships to be able to breathe. Okay? So you got to teach your body that relationships used to not be safe, not be okay. Now they are. See what I'm saying? That's the journey you're on. You're going to retrain your body. Same with dealing with your horses. That previous owner abused you. I'm going to prove to you over time that I'm not. You're teaching that horse that relationships are now safe because they used to not be. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You're
absolutely.
You're that horse. Okay?
Okay.
And so every time you feel your body start to get annoyed at your wife or feel sharp with her, ask yourself, what is my body trying to protect me from? Not, why won't she? You see what I'm saying? There's a total difference there. Why? Oh, I'm starting to get close. I'm starting to realize I need her right now. And my body's like, oh, no, we're not going to do that again. And this is when you have to learn the skills to go, nope, that's exactly what we're doing. We're going directly into the mouth of this dragon. See what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's something you practice. Will you commit to 30 days of staying off the computer?
Yeah, I will.
Every time you think you want to, or you feel like you need to, I'll even go that far and need to. If you've been doing it a long time, it's absolutely as much as any addiction as heroin is. Will you write it down? Go to Walmart or get on Amazon and order a cheap journal. Write it down. Here's what time it was during the day. Here's what I feel like. Here's what's going on in my head as I am feeling this call to do this. And then I want you to go for a run, go for a walk, call a friend, go do something, go ride a horse, whatever. Okay?
Okay.
Put on the calendar 30 days.
Okay.
Mark it off. Cool?
Yep.
All right.
Will.
After this, I want you to tell your wife, you and I are going to go see somebody, and I'm going to make the call for us. Would she be into that for you?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Good. Hey, you're about to change everything.
Okay.
One more thing, Justin. Do you promise that if you think about hurting yourself that you'll call somebody?
Yeah, absolutely.
You promise?
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't believe you.
Yeah, I promise that I'll talk to somebody, just because it's not that I want to be gone. I just want to feel loved. So,
yeah, absolutely. It's not that you want to be dead, it's you want the pain to stop.
Yeah.
Yeah. And by the way, dude, you are loved. You're not loved in a way that makes sense to that little 7-year-old boy, because your mom and dad probably told you we love you, and then they disappeared on you.
Yeah.
And so your body's trying to figure out what the crap that even means. And your journey is to figure out this is what feeling loved feels like, because you don't know right now, and that's okay. It's a skill you're going to learn.
Yeah.
It's something you're going to practice. And you're going to get some dudes in your life that you love and respect, and iron sharpens iron, you're going to do life with, right? Okay. Hang on the line. I'm going to send you a copy. In fact, I'm going to send you 2 copies of Own Your Past, Change Your Future, my book. Okay. And I want you and your wife to read it together and highlight it. This is going to give y'all a conversation. We'll read a chapter a week, right? And we're going to read it, and we're going to talk about what we read and what we highlighted in it. And we're going to start to look at the little GPS pins of trauma in our life that our body's pegged for us. We're going to start looking at those moments when our bodies start to feel a little bit weird, and we're going to call a counselor. We're playing a long game with this one. And dude, I'm real optimistic. 30 days. I expect you to email me back, Justin, and let me know I made 30 days. And then we'll do 30 days again after that, but we're going to do 30 days to start off with. Why? Because you're a guy that takes care of himself. You're the guy that stewards his body. You're a guy that stewards his marriage. And we're going to start there, creating a new Justin moving forward. Some of the things I want to talk to you about today are just personal questions I've had, and you can shed some light on. You're going to speak on behalf of the entire community for some of these groups, which people love to do, right?
Oh boy!
And then the second thing is you and I are in kind of similar stages, and so I'm going to ask just your wisdom on some things, because you have some experiences that I don't have, and you've got some I've made some mistakes along the way, and I'm looking back going, oh, dude, what do I do now? And then that's where you are, because your kids are younger than mine. So broad picture, OG Navy SEAL teams, CIA operator stuff, like you've been all over the world. For our listeners, real quick, how would you parse off the difference between like Navy SEALs versus then we went and did CIA operation stuff, then I worked for some private, like what's a quick way to just say, here's the difference between those things?
Well, here's the difference between the SEALs and the agency.
Right. And then private stuff.
Well, so kind of like my evolution into the agency was, I was a SEAL for 6 years. That's basically kicking doors and sniper stuff, direct action, kind of the just first guys in special operations stuff. And then from there I got into the private stuff, but the private stuff was still the agency stuff. So you got to think of it like this. Like there was all these companies, Blackwater, SOC, Triple Canopy, MVM, DynCorp, right? And so that would be, we're called contractors, government contractors. So it's really not any different than like if you have a contractor to build a house.
I was going to say, when I think of contractor, I think of a sheetrock guy.
You go to a general contractor, and then he gets the guy that's going to do the bathroom, and he gets the plumber and the electrician and the roof and the windows and all these different people, right? And so when the government needs things done, they go to a contractor like Blackwater, and the Blackwater under the umbrella at Blackwater or DynCorp, MVM, or any of these places, it's, well, what do you need done? What kind of guys are you looking for? Do you want law enforcement type guys? Do you want regular infantry type guys? Do you want DEA guys? Do you want FBI guys? Do you want special operations guys? What do you want? What's the job? What kind of clearance do they need to have? And so the agency needs special ops guys with a high clearance level, and so that's kind of how I got my foot in the door. And so it started at Blackwater and then moved over to some other companies. And then I left, did some anti-piracy stuff off the coast of Yemen and Somalia. Did that for not very much time at all, 2 pumps.
As a civilian, why would the entity I pay my taxes to need to go outsource what I would consider one of their chief jobs, which is to keep us safe? Why would they need to outsource that?
Yeah.
Is it a manpower thing? Is it we can't do it because of our laws and we need somebody else to just take care of it? Like why would they outsource that?
I mean, it's a little bit of everything. One, your tax dollars, it's actually cheaper to get government contractors in because then they're not paying for benefits, retirements, any of that stuff.
Oh, so it's cheaper for me if I go hire my own drywall guy, my own roofer guy, versus just hiring a GC and saying, I'll give you 10%, just take care of all of it.
Yeah, because we're not an employee, Okay. And so so I know that's really boring, right? That's probably not the answer you're looking for.
I was hoping you'd be like, but no, I always just wondered, why do we have all these contracts and why do we pay all these things? Well, it's very similar. I like that analogy. It's like buying a house or building a house.
There's a lot of reasons. That is probably the number one reason that, it's like from a broad spectrum, of all government contracting. But then, there's also plausible deniability with things like CIA. There is a lot of red tape that the government can't get around, but a civilian contracting company can get around that. And so, the U.S. military can't do certain things. Central Intelligence Agency doesn't want to pay credit for certain things. And so government contractors is kind of, how that kind of stuff can be done.
My career was in colleges, universities, and there was a trickle of students coming in that were veterans. And then over the last 20 years, obviously more and more combat veterans have come in who are rolling off. More and more, National Guard folks are rolling in. And then it became en masse, right, as people started coming in. I noticed 2 things happen. One is it boggles my mind, again, as a taxpayer. When I think of the taxes I write every year, I just paid my taxes recently, right? Just filed all the paperwork. That these men and women who go and put the 2 most important things in their world on the line for me, which is their time, right? Like they take 4 years out of their life, their earning potential, all this stuff, and they put it over here, right, for service. And then the potential that you can get killed doing that, right? Then to come back, and we've seen like an influx of like you special ops guys who like starting businesses and trying to do this and do this with that training they got. As a taxpayer, my first thought is, why in the world are those guys having to go make money? They've done their thing. Like if I as a taxpayer have one thing I would like to put on the table, it would be you get a house at least, for God's sake, right? Or you get insurance, for crying out loud. You get a salary. You've done the thing, right? You've done 6 years, a decade, or whatever it is. And so am I wrong that you get off and you get a high five and like, go get them, and then it's out in the wild?
Yeah. I mean, I don't think you're, I mean, look, there's two sides to this. If you just hand them everything too, then you are victimizing an entire, demographic of people.
Okay. So not saying, okay, now you have to continue to go earn.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, that's kind of my thought.
Okay.
I think they're, with the same caveat to that is that the assistance that you do get is complete garbage.
Yeah, it's silly.
You got guys, I've had guys that I know that are missing limbs, missing their leg, missing their arm, maybe both, and they don't even have full medical benefits, and then you get a guy who sat behind a desk for 4 years and maybe went to Afghanistan and maybe heard a rocket explode 5 miles away, and they're getting full benefits.
So it's kind of just a mismatch.
Yeah.
It
kind of comes down a lot of the times. The way it works out, unfortunately, is the guys that sit behind the desk or the guys that are not in a combat MOS are really good at working the system. Just like when you go, everybody complains about government employees, the post office, the DMV, law enforcement. Where it's really hard to fire a government employee, and they learn how to work the system. Guys that are actually out there fighting, they don't have time to work the system, to learn the system. They don't want to be in the system. They're not the turds that are going to medical, building a medical record so that they can get a retirement. And so what happens is you'll get these guys that, like I said, the desk jockeys, and they'll build these, and not all of them. I'm not saying that about all of them.
Of course.
But they'll build a file. They'll build a case. They'll spend 4 years. Oh man, I fell down the stairs. Oh, I bumped my head on a filing cabinet. They'll do like this, and then guys like myself who are in special ops, we don't want to go to medical. We don't even want to report any injuries because that might get you pulled off of an op, which the whole reason you join is to go on ops. And so.
And that costs you down the road, right?
Oh yeah.
Whenever you're circling back, like, well, you should have filed that then.
Yep, exactly.
Wow. So one thing that has begun to frustrate me over the years is it's kind of like the high five is the phrase, "Thank you for your service."
Mm-hmm.
And so it becomes like here you go, and that way I can. It's like a nod, right? You nod to somebody. As a civilian, do you have a couple of ideas of ways I can love and be a good community member to folks coming back? And it can be as simple as the guy with the still wearing the Vietnam vet hat, the real tall one, like in at the Walmart, right?
Yeah.
Where I can acknowledge that guy, all the way to one of my coworkers just gets hired, and I find out we're having lunch that they were deployed a couple of times. What are ways I can, as a civilian, not just say thank you for your service and then go about my day?
Yeah.
Right?
Just find different words to say. You know what I mean? Like the Vietnam
Am
generation.
I wrong on that?
No, you're not.
Okay.
But speaking for the veteran community too, though, you're only going to get so much. It was a voluntary program. Nobody twisted your arm, to go in there, unless maybe you were in the Vietnam generation. Sure. But, the big saying with the Vietnam generation, what was it? It was welcome home, right? So when you see that guy, instead of saying, thank you for your service, which isn't bad, nobody says it, barely anybody actually just says it. I don't know why.
Okay.
But, just go up to him like, hey, welcome home, man. Appreciate what you did. Or the newer generation coming back from the GWAT, just, hey, I just want you to know I really appreciate what you did over there, and
so acknowledgement still
Acknowledgement is great.
Okay.
That's all you can ask, and as a veteran, for all veterans, like that's all you can ask is
Is it embarrassing or annoying if somebody picks up somebody's tab?
no, I think it's great.
Okay. All right.
It just shows appreciation. And I think that's, other than all the psychological problems and stuff like traumatic brain injury and the stuff that you see, I think a lot of vets that's what they feel. They carry a lot of resentment because they don't feel appreciated, and I think a lot of them don't feel appreciated. I mean, you see the news cycle, you see the social programs that are benefiting people that aren't even citizens of the country, and it's like, well, what about can
me?
I just, I don't know, maybe I could get a new prosthetic, like leg, maybe? No? Okay, I'll go find a nonprofit to do it. But I don't have a prosthetic leg.
No, I know, yeah.
But and that it'll carry a lot of it causes a lot of resentment, but for any vets that are listening, I mean, it's not getting any better. So there's lots of other avenues.
Well, and for me, that becomes an important thing to communicate to our neighbors, right? Or to the civilian neighbors, of which there's way more civilian neighbors than there are not, right? Which is, take the time. Like if you walk into a restaurant and see somebody with a hat on, pick up their meal. Like, do that, right? That's not a lot. And if you have a neighbor, make sure you reach out and say, hey, just have your kids say thank you, right? Like little things like that.
Man, even if it's just on the right days.
Exactly.
Memorial Day, that's a big one. For anybody who fought and lost buddies, or families who have lost loved ones, that's a big one. Just, hey, I just want to let you know I'm thinking about you today. Veterans Day. I mean, Veterans Day will come and I'll probably get like a text. I don't know what it is. I don't know why people don't just say it. But that's the kind of that makes you feel unappreciated.
It makes you, well, you deal with you have to file this much paperwork just so, hey, I'm starting to have headaches again. Right. Yeah. And it feels like you're just pushing upstream to live. And then your wife gets pregnant and your body has an anxiety response. You're like, well, I'm going to have a kid, man. Can I go talk to somebody? No, you didn't file that. Like, so it feels like every day is against you.
Mm-hmm.
Just say thank you on, right?
Yeah.
We've all had that birthday that like nobody texted or like one old friend did.
Yeah.
And it just feels like, can you just say happy birthday for God's sake? You know what I mean? And that feels like not very much, but
yeah.
I appreciate you sharing that. And nobody wants to walk around their neighborhood and be like, will you just say thank you? Nobody wants to be that guy either, right?
Yeah.
And so I know that puts you in an awkward situation, but I appreciate that. I can't wrap my head around training, going overseas, not even going overseas, being a part of a gang in the way that military folks are. And then you get out, and then you just like move to a neighborhood. And then your neighbor is like, will you move your garbage kit right? Or that becomes your buddy. Maybe their neighbor's really nice to you. But like in your nervous system, what it's like to have a group of men and women who will die for you.
Mm-hmm.
And then to try to recreate friends, recreate community in the civilian world feels like that would make somebody crazy. Because it's you know what it could be and it's not. And you never get that sense of, whew, how much is the return, the rise of PTSD, just the frustration, how much of that is finding yourself in a neighborhood with a family and still feeling I'm totally alone?
I mean, I'm kind of over that now.
Okay.
But I still have my quirks,
For those of you who don't know, Sean, that may be the understatement of the century.
But I go from 0 to 100 in about 0.2 seconds. But people aren't going to change. You know what I mean? They're not going to quit bitching about your trash being out early or whatever we're talking about, or people are people, dude. And so if you want anything to change, you got to start looking internally, because people are just going to let you down every single day.
If you're expecting them to fix you, right? Or
they're not going to, and they're just not, and so it takes, it unfortunately, like, it just takes a lot of work. Like, you have to, like, it's kind of like addiction, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're not just going to get better. You have to want to get better. Nobody else is going to make you better. You can bitch, moan, cry, isolate, do all that stuff, but in the end, you're just prolonging it all. And so,
just not choosing reality. I'm going to head right into it.
Yeah,
I don't have any friends. I'm going to go find some friends.
Exactly.
Feels like another, and this is life, right? This is life. It feels like yet another job I have to go do.
When you make that decision,
Yeah.
things will start to get better.
Right.
They will. But a lot of people don't want to make that decision. They get comfortable with where they're at. They want to hate everybody. They want to, they want to, I think, I'm tough on the veteran community now, now, especially now, not to be old back when I got out, but back when I got out, there wasn't any of this stuff.
Right.
There wasn't any of this stuff, now just for
nonprofit support, church groups, whatever.
None of it. Nobody knew what PTSD was. Nobody knew what traumatic brain injury was. Nobody knew any of that stuff. It was just send them out. You want out? Okay, get out. And now, look, we're talking about it right here. Everybody's talking about it. There's all these avenues that you can take to go get better. And if that one doesn't work, then try this one and try this one. And there's funding and, so, we're back to talking about, I don't feel appreciated and I need a pat on the back every time I walk out my front door because I went to war. Man, the pat on the backs are all over the place. You just got to find them, it takes work. You got to do research. And
so that brings me to you. So I've never told you this. So if you want me to edit this out, I will when it's over.
Oh boy.
You and I met up in one of the green rooms upstairs the very first time several years ago. And my publicist at the time arranged for us a meeting. And we met and had lunch together. And then I had to go do something. And most of my career has been spent walking into a room and you get 10 seconds, 5 seconds to feel that room real fast and know, not as are we safe, but know here's the avenue forward. And when I went into that room, you had an energy that was truly, I don't call it a dark energy, but it was a, whoa. And I remember telling the person who was my PR person at the time, that dude's not all right. There's something not okay between us. And I didn't know what it was, whatever. The next time we met, maybe a year later, everything about you was different. Your whole essence was different. And you've talked at length, and we won't go into detail here, but you've talked at length on your show in pretty, I would say, brave and vulnerable ways about your journey with psychedelics, your journey with counseling. You're doing all the stuff, your faith journey, all that, which has been amazing. But it's a palpable transformation, right? Walking into a room and that's a different human. The question I have for you is, upstream, at some point, you had to say, I need this to be different. What was that? What was that push?
Look, I didn't think I had a problem with alcoholism. I did, I've done a bunch of steps, John. I did therapy for, I think, 2.5 or 3.5 years, twice a week, phenomenal. Got me off drinking. Look, when I got out of the agency, if you jumped in my car, I would open the glove box and about 50 mini bottles of vodka would fall out. And I'd offer you one, and then I'd take a couple, and I would drink mini bottles all day. And then I'd go home, pull a fifth of vodka out of the freezer and polish that off and maybe get hour and a half of sleep, get up, do it all over again. And it ruined all my family relationships. Anyways, I quit drinking vodka after a suicide attempt, right? And
I didn't even know about that.
Yeah,
okay.
I quit drinking vodka after suicide attempt. I started drinking wine, which I didn't really feel like I had a problem once I did that. And then let's fast forward. What you're talking about is psychedelics.
When are you back in? So you quit drinking when?
To about 2 years ago, a little over.
So that's right when we met.
Yeah. Quit drinking altogether.
When you start processing it.
Yeah. I quit drinking wine and not strong alcohol. It's about 2 years ago.
Okay. But before that, you quit drinking vodka how long ago before that?
maybe 5 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. The transformation that you're talking about or what you saw was psychedelics. And what got me there was, it was a lot of things, man. It was a lot, I'm sure I have some traumatic brain injuries from being blown up. But what really got me was I was not ever in the moment with my family, ever. I couldn't, I had a 6-month-old son and I would just look at him and all these other thoughts are going on in my head. And I would have discussions with my wife and my brain is in a completely different world. I wouldn't
like in a protective world or in a...
No, it could be anything,
Okay.
But a lot of it was business stress, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure you can relate to that, right?
Yeah.
And then as businesses grow and your name grows, then people start coming out of the woodworks and they want all this from you for free and hey, da-da-da-da-da. Like they think that it just showed up. And it got really hard for me to say no to people, and for the first over 5 years of my business, I was giving everything away, all of it, advertising, everything. And I would see everybody just passing me up, and, but it was combat stress. It was TBI, it was business stress. It was anxiety. It was not being in the moment.
A new kid.
And that's what really sparked it though, was I was like, man, I feel enraged all the time and I'm never in the moment. And I just knew I needed something, and I'd been researching psychedelic therapy. And so I went down and did it. I didn't even go down to quit drinking. That was not even on the radar.
Because you knew you weren't doing that drinking anymore, right? And
yeah,
so,
I was coming home and having a half bottle to a bottle of wine a night, which isn't good, but
it's different than drinking a fifth, right?
It wasn't. Me and my wife weren't arguing. I think alcohol, plays a big part in a lot of divorces and arguments and stuff. But it wasn't anything like that. It was a decompression ritual, maybe, and that I fell into a cycle that I just couldn't break. But I didn't want to break it. That's not, like I said, that's not why I went down. So I came out of that 1 week and everything changed. I was in the moment. For some reason, it got real easy for me to say no and put my family first instead of people that I don't even know. Like I probably sound like an ass. Right?
No. I remember asking you, I think I invited your family over for something, and you just wrote back and there was not even an excuse. And you wrote, not going to be able to make this, thanks for the invite. And I remember going like this, I was like, yes, he's there. You know what I'm saying? It was dude, you don't owe me anything. You know what I mean? They're the most important. And I trust that if you can make it and y'all want to come, cool. And if you don't, cool. But it was this sense of, I remember going yeah, there you go. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It is. Now it's here.
Yeah.
I don't owe you anything, man.
Yeah.
And that allows me to love you when I can.
Yeah.
All in, right?
Yeah. It's I try to, when I say no, I really try not to offer any excuses because
you don't owe them.
Yeah.
Right.
You could try it by going to you just don't owe anybody excuses. If you go return something watch the return aisle. When's the last time you went I got to return this coffee mug because this and this, why are you just volunteering you don't like it, return it, just practice that.
Yeah.
And then, just say no. You don't have to.
Dude, I was the worst. I blamed my wife back in the day. And I remember feeling it was a singer-songwriter in East Nashville called me out on it. Because I was like, I got to go return this, because my wife. And he's like, really? You going to blame her?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my gosh, I am such a coward.
Yeah.
What a clown, right? What a clown. And by the way, even if she had said, I don't really like X, Y, or Z, which she didn't, will you take this back? They don't need to know that.
Yeah.
I'm the grown man walking this thing back in. They don't need to know anything about her, right? And just this sense of freedom. But your whole essence is different, man.